Candela, hypnotherapist, transformation coach, and a spiritual teacher. You're about to listen to a recording of one of my regression sessions. If you enjoy the content on my channel, please consider subscribing. And if you click on the bell, it will inform you of any of my future postings. Also, leave a comment and click like, because that helps to bring this kind of content to more viewers. I hope you enjoy the recording, and I hope to see you again in my future videos. I want you to tell me the very first thing that you see below you as you reach the surface.
I'm outside.
Is it daytime or nighttime?
It's dusk.
And notice if you can see something that's close to you or maybe a little bit further away.
I feel like there's a horse. It has a bit on it. It's not a lot of grass.
So I'd like you to look down at your feet and tell me what you're wearing on your feet.
I just have brown boots on.
And become aware of your body and tell me what you're wearing.
I feel like I'm wearing just jeans. I have a belt on and a long sleeve shirt, but my sleeves are rolled up.
Are you in a male or a female body?
I'm a man.
Young or old?
30s.
Are you healthy?
Yes.
Did you say you're holding the horse?
I was petting it. I just see that it's dusk. It's flat land. It's kind of bare, like it puts me in the mind of Arizona, that type of scenery. It just looks like it goes on forever. You just see the sky, and it's like a light blue, and then towards the bottom where the sun's going down, it's very pretty. The horse is near me. It's brown and white. It's like as if I was riding a horse and I just got off. I don't see or sense anything else.
And do you have anything else on you? Like anything that you're carrying in your hands?
I feel like I have a hat on. I don't have anything in my hands. It's hot. I feel tired, like it's been a long day, tired.
And just become more aware of where you're heading. What is your destination?
I'm heading home. I have a bag, but I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a burlap bag. It's just attached to the horse's saddle.
So go ahead and look inside of that bag and you will know what's in there.
Beans. It's just a bag of dried beans.
And what are you planning to do with them?
Taking them home to eat, to cook them.
So where are you returning from?
I'm coming from a town. I rode my horse in a town. I just went there to get food. I got the beans. I think I was on my way home. Maybe it's a long distance. It's too late. And I'm building a fire, a small one. I feel like there's several hours of riding until I make it home. My horse is tired, so I'm just calling it a night.
What are you feeding the horse?
Just eating shrubbery, like the patches of grass. And I have a canister of water. There's nowhere to pour it. I'm pouring it in his mouth.
And so let's move a little bit forward. As you renew your journey, just tell me what you know.
I made it to my parents' house. And that's who I'm giving the bag to.
The bag with the beans?
Yes. I brought them to my parents' house. but I am cooking them. I'm helping my mother. I'm taking care of them.
Tell me what you see when you get to their house.
It's a sturdy house. It's like a log cabin. It's out in the woods. It's surrounded by trees. And the fence post out front is where I tie up my horse. And when I go to the front steps, I see my father standing there. And I go inside and I hand the bag to my mother. And I start to help her soaking the beans.
So why did you say you're taking care of your parents? Are they not well?
They were depending on me. They were expecting me to come back with food.
Now become aware if you live in this house.
I do.
Okay. Is there anybody else that lives in this house other than your parents and you?
No, just a dog. It's a brown dog. Looks like a mutt.
And just go through the house and tell me what you see there.
The floors are wooden. On the back wall, there's a fireplace with some kind of a pot and a hook. I'm trying to look around me. There's a wooden rocking chair in the corner. And there's another one by the fireplace. And there's no running water. It's very simple and it's very small.
Does it have separate rooms?
There's a main living area. And I think one room. And that's my parents' room. I sleep in the living room.
How do you bring the water in?
It looks like a huge metal pot. It's tall and it has two handles on each side with a lip at the top so it doesn't spill out. I can see that my dad's not walking very well. He's walking with a cane. And they're older. They look like they're in their 60s or 70s.
Where do you get the water?
There's a river out back, or more of a stream. It's small, and it's a ways away.
So that's where all your water comes from?
Yeah, I think so. And now that my parents are older, I have to get it myself. It's very tiring to make the trip for one person.
How do you carry it?
My horse helps me. I feel like the horse is my companion, my best friend.
Is it a male or female horse?
It's a boy. He has more of a white, cream-colored mane, but he's mainly brown with white splotches. He has a white nose with a little bit of gray.
Become aware of what you do during the day, usually.
I think I just help my father farm.
And so when you go outside of the house, you will notice if there is any farming that you do, where it is, and what you're growing.
I walk outside the house to the left where there's trees. That's where the stream is. To the right, there's flat land. And it looks like it's not very fruitful. It's very dry. What we have is cornfields. But it's just a dirt field, but you can tell that it was planted there.
Do you plant it just for your family to live on, or is it to sell?
I think we sell it. I moved in with my parents because my dad couldn't do it by himself. So I promised I would help take care of the land so it doesn't go to waste.
And before you moved in, just become aware of where you were and what you were doing.
I had my own land outside of town. A very small house. It's like a single room house. But it wasn't as far from town as what my parents is.
How did you make your living?
I can't get a sense of what I do. I know I go into town, but I don't know what for.
And on a count of 3, see yourself having a meal as you normally would. 1, 2, and 3. And tell me what you see.
Sitting at a table with a bowl. It looks like beans, and yellow bread is probably cornbread, and milk. There's cows on the farm. We get our own milk from the cows. I do that every day. So one of my jobs is to milk the cows and to take care of the vegetables. It looks like corn or something. But we sit there and it's just me. My mother's sitting across from me. It's a square table. This side of the table is where my father sits.
I'd like you to look around the house. And you may find a newspaper, maybe a letter or a note that will have a date on it.
I think it's 1904.
And where are you seeing that date?
I go into town. I think I go into like a bar. And there's a chalkboard. And they have the date written as 04. I can't find a newspaper.
It's okay. Although when you walk through town, they might be selling it on the street.
There's a little boy, and he has a bike and newspapers. March 4th, 1904. It doesn't tell me location.
That's all right. The location may be written either in the middle or on the side, the front page.
I think I'm in Oklahoma.
I want you to become aware of whether you have or have had your own family.
I'm single.
And do you prefer it that way, or do you wish to get married?
No, I'm lonely.
Are you looking for anyone?
No, because I have to take care of my parents. I can't move out. There's not enough room for another family.
I see. So you're planning to be alone for as long as you're taking care of your parents?
Yeah. It's like I put my life on hold. Like I was established. And I just had to do the right thing and take care of them.
So you were established when you were on your own?
Yeah. I had my own house. I think I just farmed. That's the only thing that seems familiar to me. And I was never married, but I was in relationships, small ones. And then as my parents' health declined, they needed help to keep their income coming. So I just told them that I would help do that. My mom doesn't want me to stay. She keeps telling me that they'll be fine, but they're not. My dad tells me that they're struggling and they need me there. So I stay, and I just put my life on hold to make sure they're okay.
And what did you do with your farm and your house?
I sold it, and I bought my horse with it. And I feel like maybe I bought them some livestock to bring to their farm.
Are you all doing okay right now financially?
Yeah, I feel like we're like middle class.
Okay. You said you grow corn, and what do you do with it?
I take a wagon into town, and then we sell it to the townspeople. It's almost like a farmer's market set up. I see multiple other wagons coming into town, all set up in the same area, and people are walking around just shopping.
Do you have any friends that you spend time with?
There's a girl I like. We're just friends.
Do you go to see her?
I feel like I don't make special trips, but I look forward to seeing her when I go into town. And I know where she usually hangs out, so I always try to pass by where she's at. so I can say hi.
So on the count of 3, I'd like you to move to the next significant event in that life. 1, 2, and 3. And tell me what happens.
My father passes away.
Was he ill?
Yes. The doctor came to our house. I'm getting a sense that he had a heart attack, like it was sudden.
I see. How is your mom handling it?
She's heartbroken. I can see her holding his hand.
How long have you been with them at this point?
I feel like it's been close to 10 years.
Are you doing all the farming work at this point by yourself?
Yes. I've taken it over fully.
Do you have any farm hands, or do you just do it all by yourself?
I don't feel a sense that I'm doing it with anyone else. It's just me. It's not a huge amount. It's a decent workload. But I feel like after my dad passes, the girl that I like in town comes to help out. She comes to talk to my mom. She keeps her company. She knows that it's a lot on me. So she helps take care of my mom while I go out and farm all day. I feel like maybe she's moving in.
How old is she?
She's younger. Not drastically. But at this point I feel like I'm in my 40s or 40. And I sense that she's in her upper 20s or maybe just 30.
And do you feel that she's doing that for your sake?
Yes. She's doing it as a friend. I think she cares about me too.
So is there any romantic side to this relationship?
Yes. It turns into her coming by to help my mom cook and clean. She also helps my mom bathe. She's kind of just like her caretaker for me. And then I sense that she's moved into the farm. I don't know if I'm married to her. I'm assuming so.
Just become aware of the relationship that you are developing with her. Outside of the things that she does for your mom, what is your relationship like?
It's loving. She makes me very happy. I felt like I wasn't good enough for her, like I couldn't provide for her the way my life was. I didn't have time to have a relationship or offer her time to go on dates. And then when she started coming around, we started talking, and it became something. I make her smile a lot. And I asked her to marry me, and we did get married. We have a son. I feel like I jumped ahead in time.
It's alright. Just go to the next significant event and tell me what happens then.
My son is maybe 3 or 4. He looks just like me. My mom is still around.
Do you still live on the same farm?
Yes.
How is the farm business going?
Well, me, my wife, and my son share the room, and my mother now sleeps out in the living room. The farm business is good. We got more livestock, so now I'm raising livestock. We have eggs, the milk. I sell the chickens in addition to the food. I feel like I grow peppers, because I don't think it's corn. But our family's doing well. We don't go without, but we're not rich. We make it by comfortably.
When your mom goes, would you just stay on the same farm or go somewhere else?
We do stay. When she passes, we bury them outside in a beautiful grove. They're buried together. We stay there on the farm. I don't think I have any other kids. It's just my son. His name is Malcolm, because I can hear my wife calling him that.
So now on the count of 3, I'd like you to move to the last day in that life. 1, 2, and 3. And tell me what you're experiencing.
I feel like I had a heart attack too, because I'm holding my chest.
And where are you?
I'm at home, in the bedroom. And then I sit down on the bed, and my wife comes over. I feel like her name's Becky. She's trying to make sure I'm okay. Of course, there's nothing we can do. I don't feel like I'm that old. Maybe late 50s.
Is your son around?
No. I don't know where he's at.
Is he still living with you in the house?
Yes. He's not there on the day that I'm passing.
It's all right. Allow your spirit to lift gently out of your body as you take your next breath. You will know where your son was or how old he is at this point. And also, tell me your thoughts or feelings about that life.
He's 14. He's at the creek. His mother sent him down to go get water. So I told him to take my horse and go down there. I feel fulfilled in that life. I wanted to experience that love. And it was a turning point from thinking that I wasn't going to have that at all. Caring for my parents and their farm. I just feel so much love for my wife.
So allow those images to fade away in any thoughts that you're aware of before, just letting go, that you're drifting and floating in different directions, being pulled in another direction, moving towards another appropriate time, letting go of any images, so moving, floating towards drifting, another appropriate time and place. And I want you to tell me once again the first impression that you get as you find yourself on the surface.
In a building. I'm wearing a white jacket. I'm a doctor.
What do you see around you?
The walls are brown. I have wood walls, but vertical wood.
Like paneling?
Yes. And a desk and a light. And I have my certificate framed on the wall, but it's dimly lit. I think I'm a doctor. This is my office.
So I'd like you to become aware of the certificate and either read it or just know what it says.
I can tell it's like fancy writing. It says doctorate. I think my signature is Gregory McCormick.
So I'd like you to become aware of what type of doctor you are or what you do in that office.
I think my patients are coming in from a war. I'm assisting with wrapping and bandaging soldiers. I feel like they're not all ours though. Some of them are from different countries, but we're still treating them. I just see rows of men with bandages on. It's terrible.
Where are you located?
I'm in the building now, in a shelter. It's just chaotic. They just keep bringing cot after cot after cot of soldiers.
Are you near the front, where the battle is?
Yes. It's very loud. But we do feel safe where we're at. But you can hear everything off in a distance. But it has to be close because they're just rolling in the people.
And are you just bandaging them or are you doing any procedures?
Right now, everybody's just getting bandaged. We're stopping bleeding. We're telling soldiers that they have to wait for any surgeries if they get it. Because there's so many. We're just wrapping their limbs or their head. And if they pass, they go into a separate room. We all feel that it's inhumane, but we don't have enough room for all the bodies. So they kind of get laid upon each other until we can identify them.
How big is the space?
It's not very big. It's a very slender room. It's like a hall with the cots lined up on each side. It's like a pop-up tent. I don't know if it's structurally sound. I think it's just like a temporary structure. It's about 15 feet across and maybe 30 feet long.
So I'd like you to become aware of what is beyond this tent. And where are you located beyond the tent?
We're on U.S. territory. We're at war. I feel like I'm almost managing. I'm still doing the work and taking care of people, but I'm handling the instruction. I'm telling the nurses what to do. I'm going to each person and I'm telling the nurses how to treat them temporarily, how to wrap their wounds, or if they need to, remove a portion of their limb or something.
You're assessing them?
Yes, but it's so fast. I'm just going up to them, assessing the wound, telling them what they could do, going to the next one. It's just chaotic.
So who is the battle with?
So when I said I'm seeing men from different countries come in, they look like they're of Asian descent. They're tan. They have black hair. I can't tell which war.
Allow your spirit to temporarily travel out of your body, travel out of the tent, and just survey the area. Your body will still continue to do the work that it needs to do, but you will also have an awareness of what is happening outside. Tell me what's happening.
I feel like it's morning.
And can you see clearly around?
No. It has something to do with an Asian country. My assumption would be Korea. I'm looking from above. It's a white tent. My surroundings are blurry.
Your field of vision expands. Your perception becomes clearer. You will begin to understand where you are, what your role is there, and what military operation this is.
It's definitely at war with Korea or something. Their army is of that descent. The American soldiers, they're wearing round hats. Primarily guns being used, more foot combat.
And are you on their territory?
I think so. I didn't think so before, but I'm feeling a sense that I traveled to get there. Yeah, they're dropping things out of the airplanes. There's combat in the sky too. It's a lot.
So you can allow yourself now to return to your tent. And on the count of 3, you're going to move to the next significant moment. 1, 2, and 3. And tell me what's happening.
I feel like I'm being awarded for my services by the military. So I survived. We're back in the U.S. It's a large room with a stage. So I feel welcomed. I just feel like they surprised me with that and had me get on stage.
And what are you being awarded?
It's a medal. Essentially, thank you for your services. Helping save the men that fought for the country.
And how do you feel in that moment?
Overwhelmed. It was the worst thing that I ever experienced. I think it's ironic that it's like my achievement. I think I suffer from PTSD after that. I keep having flashbacks of the constant commotion and the loud sounds and just constant turnover of people passing. I think that really bothers me in this lifetime more than it thought it would when I went there.
How much time did you spend there?
It feels like several years. I don't think it's more than 2 years. but I feel that I've been treating military men for much longer. I'm trying to make sense of that feeling.
Just become aware of the initial weeks and months of you returning home. And become aware if you have a family or anybody waiting for you. Your first steps as you return.
I don't have anyone waiting on me.
How old are you at that point?
Late 40s, early 50s. I have a sense that I'm balding, gray hair, so much older. Devoted my time to being a doctor.
You have a practice waiting for you when you return?
Yes.
And do you change anything in your practice, or do you continue the way you worked before the war?
I feel like I'm just a general family practitioner. I see people of all ages, all different ailments. But after I get back from the war, I become very interested in psychiatry. And I think it's because of my own PTSD. So I start asking my patients. I'm asking them specific questions.
What do you ask them?
First, I think I'm documenting male, female, age, and then what they see me for. And then I start making connections to mental disorders. And I ask them how they feel, if anything's bothering them. And then if it leads into it, I'll ask, what are some things that are bothering you? I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm trying my hand at it because I feel I'll be good at it. And I think I'm just doing it for my own pleasure. I don't think this becomes anything outside of my own journal.
So are there things that you discover or connections you make?
Yeah, I start making relationships with the community and seeing patients just to talk to me. This was probably done because I was so lonely. I didn't have family. So I replaced that with more work.
The conditions that you're treating, are they related to the aftermath of the war, or is it anything?
No, I'm in a small town now. It's anything. Skin rashes, a headache, just general.
Do you make any interesting discoveries in the journaling that you do?
Fascination with traumatic stress and the way that it causes hallucinations. I feel that I would start to hallucinate and hear it. It would send my body into a panic. So I became fascinated with that. So I started studying people, patients that I knew came from rough backgrounds or experienced abuse, and asking them how their brain works, seeing what different effects had on them, such as loud sounds, or if someone raised their hand at them. I don't think it was anything noteworthy, just my own fascination. I get the sense that I was an atheist. I didn't go to church. I didn't believe in the church. I was very factual. I wanted to see it to believe it. I don't know why that's relevant. I was just so lonely.
So on the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3, just see yourself in the next significant moment in that life.
There's a woman. I think I was in a relationship with her, but she's telling me it's not working out. She's telling me that she's leaving because I don't give her enough time.
Is this a new relationship, or was it something long-term?
I think it was something short. I think it was more of a companionship that was leading to a relationship. She expected more. We were going on dates, and I was fine with that. I just like to have someone there, someone to talk to. She wanted something more. She wanted to live together, go on vacations together. And I didn't have time with my practice.
So what's happening with your practice?
It's still going.
Any progress in your research?
No. At this point, it's subsided. I'm taking less clients on, and I am getting older. It's becoming a lot, but it's still enough to occupy all my time. I'm very stubborn, and I just let her walk away. I don't even think I say anything back.
Do you wish she stayed?
Yes.
And how is your PTSD symptoms? Has it improved?
They've become more mild. I still suffer with it. They're mainly triggered by loud sounds. But I enjoy the quietness of the small office. Just seeing a patient at a time. Not necessarily treating dying people. I don't think I could do that. I think it was a realization for me.
So on the count of 3, you will move to the last day in that lifetime. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's happening.
I'm in a hospital bed, wearing a hospital gown. It's like green. I'm in a room by myself, hooked up to maybe an IV. I'm just looking out a window. And that's my past, alone.
So as you allow your spirit to float out of the body, the first thing I want you to become aware of is, why were you at the hospital?
It had something to do with my kidneys. My organs were failing.
So as you reflect on that life from a soul perspective, tell me how you feel about that life.
I have a sense of pride for what I accomplished, but I'm also very disappointed. I should have experienced love, to be a companion to other people. It's what I desired most, but I didn't do it. Work became more important, more of a prestige thing. I never truly got to enjoy life. That wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Part of me is proud in other aspects. I helped many, many people. Just didn't help myself.
As you reflect back on your war experience, what comes to you?
It was horrific, but it really taught me how to be calm in stressful situations.
Now as you leave that life behind, you're going to find yourself in a space of healing. And you will go there to release that energy, that memory, that experience of trauma, and to become whole again. And as you enter into that space, is there anybody waiting for you there?
Yes.
Who is there?
My father in this life.
Is he part of your soul family?
Yes.
And how does he greet you?
With open arms. He kissed me a hug.
And what does he have to say?
He said, "I'm so proud of you."
And is he there to help you with your healing?
Yes. He says, "I'm so proud of you for overcoming so much. But nothing would be a lesson if there was nothing to learn."
So we're going to release the trauma that caused the PTSD experience and panic attacks for you. In the healing temple, they will help the soul heal. So if the soul of your father is there to guide you through that healing experience, then I'd like him to tell me what he's going to do to help you release that trauma.
He tells me that at first I have to let go of it. He said that each experience is like a string, and it's a continuing string that loops in and out of you, and it makes you who you are. And he said sometimes it's okay to cut a piece of the string off if it no longer serves us, and to reknot it. But he's telling me that I need to learn how to deal with stress think he's just saying it's not going to go away, but you can work on it and heal it to make it better so we don't have to experience it again.
So I would like his help with cutting those pieces of the string that no longer serve you. From the soul perspective, are you willing to let go of those experiences that you have learned from, but emotionally they are holding you back?
Yes.
You can identify a piece of the string, or maybe multiple pieces, that dealt with the experience of the war. The pain, the suffering, the frustration, the sense of being out of control, without any power. That whole inhumane situation that puts so much unbearable stress on a person. I wonder if it's okay for you now to cut that piece of the string so that you can retain the soul knowledge, but let go of the emotional burden that it placed on you.
Yes. He handed me the scissors and he said I have to be the one to cut it.
Absolutely. And let me know when you have cut it, because we're going to then dispose of it properly.
Okay.
I'd like you to find a way that you can dispose of this piece of string so that it's gone.
I'm going to put it in fire.
Good. And so just let me know when the string is completely transformed into ashes, and the energy of that experience, the energy that was held in that string, is released.
It's gone.
Wonderful. How is your father reacting to this?
He's happy. He has his hand on my shoulder.
So know that the clearing goes in all directions of time, rippling into the present, past, and future lifetimes. I want you to ask your father if he has any parting message for you before we let him go.
He took my hands and he crossed my hands and he put them on my chest. And there's some warm light. He just said, "That's you." And he just says, "You're doing just fine, kid. And you're on the right path. You're doing just fine."
Give him a hug. Say goodbye to him for the moment, knowing that he's always available to come back to you.
He says I'm always there. All you have to do is think about me and I'll be there.
That's right. Just allow his image to fade back into the distance as he steps back. I'm going to ask the higher consciousness of Kayla to come forward so we can speak to it. May I speak to you and ask you some questions?
Yes.
Thank you. So I know that you could have brought forward many different lifetimes for Kayla to look at today, but you chose the life of a farmer and then a doctor. So can you tell me why you selected those particular lifetimes for Kayla to review?
Both of his lifetimes show a trend in taking care of people, putting other people first. And currently, I'm always alone. I don't choose to have any friends. I have friends, but I push everyone away.
And why is Kayla doing that from the soul perspective?
Being scared of not meeting people's standards. Essentially, it's a lazy way of being, not having to take other people into consideration.
So in the first life, initially he was alone because he didn't feel he would be what his partner would need him to be.
Correct.
And during the war experience, he couldn't really treat people the way they needed to, or give them the attention, give them the relief that they needed.
He always felt that he needed to do more. There was never a feeling of accomplishment, and the war took away the feeling of being a good doctor, which is what he studied his whole life to be. So then he continued to study to be a better doctor, because that's what he wanted to be, only to end up being alone.
So what is the lesson, what is the pattern that you're still working through now through Kayla?
So the PTSD is relevant because she experiences panic attacks. She can't stand loud sounds. And deals with this trauma as a response to trauma.
So as we just did some release, will that help her shift out of that trauma?
Yes.
Good.
Doing so is also going to help her handle life situations more clearly without being too stressed out. And the expectation is overwhelming when it comes to having people around you. It can be overwhelming to think if you're not doing something right or making somebody else happy. The fear of not being enough or not living up to people's expectations is a huge fear that needs to be let go.
And that was from the first life also, because he almost spent his whole life alone because he thought he wouldn't be enough.
Yes.
So is this a lesson that has been going through a number of lifetimes for you, that am I enough?
Yes. In different ways.
Can you give her some wisdom that can help her remember who she truly is? That on a soul level, she is exactly what she needs to be.
Yes. It can be helped, but it will take work. We cannot do the work for her.
So what is required of her? Because I know that if the soul can show her who she is, just a glimpse of her grandeur, of her light, of her power, that would be very healing for her.
She has a healing soul, and she's a healer. Her constant worry of not meeting expectations, whether that be in a social situation, a job, as a wife, as a mother, as a colleague, any role that's hindering progression.
So she really needs to let go of it now.
Yes, she needs to be social. She's not meant to be alone. And being social is going to open up more opportunities for her.
As she continues to become more social, then she will experience that sense of being herself and being enough. Is that the first step to it?
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you about the purpose that you have for this life experience. Letting go of this idea of not being enough is definitely a purpose. Is there anything else?
To learn that patience comes in time. Not everything happens instantly. Some things take years to build upon. So that's been repeating.
Is that related to the issue of not being enough?
It goes hand in hand. In this lifetime, a lot of expectation of immediate results. But when taking a step back, the full picture is there. Everything that this life is set out to do has achieved. It's just doing it. A big lesson for this life is to not base your self-worth on other people's ideas of you. The purpose of her relationship with her father in this life was to not base her self-worth on how someone else viewed her. Other relationships show patterns of that, but that's something that's not been fully uncovered.
So the agreement between her father and her was to come together so that she could develop her own self-worth.
Yes.
So she was concerned that there was some sort of unpaid debt that put her into this situation. Can you clarify if that is the case?
No, the lesson was all that was there in this life.
So he came to help her move forward.
Yes.
And what was her role in his life?
She was to learn that you shouldn't depend on people for self-worth. And to him was to show that you can't always depend on people. He always expected people to be there, but he didn't treat them well. And at the end, nobody was there. It's a difficult lesson to learn that will have to be relearned.
Can she see now that they were supporting each other through those experiences and through the agreement that they made at a soul level?
Yes.
Can she release any pain and guilt associated with that relationship?
Yes.
Thank you. So just like the trend in the previous lives, Kayla has been taking care of other people, raising her younger sister, and she has now pretty much adopted her stepsister that she's raising as her daughter, and she also has a stepdaughter through her marriage. So can you help her understand what the pattern is there?
Ella is in her life to show patience and to show unconditional love.
Why did they choose to come together? What is the agreement that Kayla made? How is she helping out?
To show her how to nurture herself and other people. Just to show sensitivity and being caring and compassionate.
And how can Kayla best support Ella's needs in that?
With patience and understanding and no judgment.
Is she doing okay now?
She's doing fine.
Excellent. Is there any details about the soul contract between her and her husband now that she should know about?
There's nothing noteworthy in this that needs to be addressed.
Why did they choose to come together?
He needs to be more spiritually connected. I'm supposed to help him connect spiritually to himself more, or explore that side of himself in this lifetime.
Okay. In her life as a doctor, when he went through the war, he said that it taught him to handle stress really well. So I wanted to go back to that for a moment, and I want to ask the higher self to help bring that skill to the forefront from the Akashic record. I want her to be able to tap into it in this lifetime. So can you please reach the skill itself? Begin to intensify it so that it comes to the forefront, so that she can feel that sensation of what it's like when you can be calm in a stressful situation. Let me know if you can do that.
Yes.
And what does it feel like?
Be able to think clearly. I just feel warm inside, relaxed.
Now, I'd like to ask you to do a full body scan. Start at the top of her head, scan the body all the way down, and bring to my attention anything that is out of balance and needs to be addressed.
My stomach, gut health. I need to eat healthier and drink more water.
What does eating healthier look like for her body?
Not so much processed food, more greens.
Is that going to take care of whatever imbalance is there?
It'll help with digestive issues.
Anything else?
No.
So I'm going to ask the higher self before we let you go. If you have any last message to give to Kayla, you can speak to her directly.
I'm okay.
Then I'm going to ask the higher consciousness to recede to where it belongs, with much love and thanks for the help and information that it has given Kayla today.